Hello again, Indie Warriors. Welcome back to I Dream of Indie. I'm Ole Gamer Joe, and if it's your first time here at the channel, do consider hitting that subscribe button below, along with the bell notification to keep up with all the latest indie game reviews and previews. Today we are reviewing Gravity Heroes on Steam PC. This platform-based shooter was developed by Studica Solution and Electric Monkeys. It was published by P-Cube, and it's available right now for a bit of a discount at the time of this review. That will bring the price down to $8.99. Normally the game is priced at $9.99. Gravity Heroes is a game that can be enjoyed with up to 4 players locally, and you can choose between El Tostador the Friendly Robot, Abel, Nala, and Magnus, who are members of the Gravity Heroes. When a rumored synthetic rebellion proves to be true, the heroes are rushed into battle to deal with this situation. Apparently, synthetics live under a law here which prohibits them from harming humans, so the Gravity Heroes have no idea what's behind these attacks, and the game is more or less about getting to the root of this problem. Basic movement in Gravity Heroes is quite simple. You'll use the left stick to move about the game's various maps, and then the A button to jump. You also have the ability to slide and perform wall jumps, but the most interesting element would probably have to be the flow of gravity that you can change. You use this mechanic by pressing the right stick in certain directions. This can lead to your character clinging to the top of a ceiling or to the sides of walls, and it does take a little getting used to, yes, but it's also where a lot of the fun of Gravity Heroes comes from. As you mess around with gravity, you'll also need to hold down the right trigger to blast away at enemies, and it leans heavily into the strategy. You might want to bounce up and down and all around in order to avoid enemy fire and deal out damage. It's a whole lot of stupid fun. As you're battling your way through waves of enemy synthetics, little robots on your side of the battle will occasionally drop items to assist you. These can be more powerful guns, health restoratives, or even grenades which you can fling at enemies. Selecting and using items in Gravity Heroes is simple enough, as is resurrecting a fallen character. You can do so in a few different ways actually, either by having a resurrection stone in your inventory and walking up to the fallen friend, or by using your ghost, which exits your body whenever you're defeated. From here, the ghost can collect energy off of enemies and stun them to eventually re-enter your body and revive you that way. This is what the game refers to as self-resurrection, and I loved it. Gravity Heroes does feature a few different modes of play, including the story mode, which will take you through a fun little campaign full of wave-based rooms to clear and boss encounters, or the arcade mode, where you can fight against 3 of your friends locally, or try your hand at some survival, where obviously the goal is to try and survive as long as possible. Should you choose the story mode, you'll have to play on normal before getting to hard, but I actually think the average gamer will find the normal difficulty to be a pretty good starting point, especially given the fact that you'll have to get used to the interesting mechanics of the game. There is a bit of a learning curve to Gravity Heroes, yes, but once you get used to things, it really feels pretty awesome. Hands down though, the best part of playing Gravity Heroes is doing so with a friend. Communicating with silent signs was an absolute blast. We were coming up with all kinds of crazy strategies to take down enemies and revive one another, so I really can't recommend playing this one for single player. It's just not as fun. It loses a lot of its charm, so this is a game that you're definitely going to want to have a co-op partner for, and if you can get a third or even a fourth player, I imagine it's even more fun. Unfortunately, we could only test 2-player for this review. I will say that it's a little bit of a disappointment that there's no featured online play here, so that's kind of a bummer, but still, with a co-op partner, expect to have a lot of fun, and at least on Steam you do have that option of using the remote play feature if you wanted to try to get a friend involved that way. In terms of graphics, I thought Gravity Heroes looked pretty awesome. The pixel art is beautifully executed, and the animations are fluid throughout. The game ran wonderfully with no hitches that I came across, and all the characters, while mostly playing the same from one another, do at least have unique personalities. Some of the synthetic designs did get a little bit repetitive in the enemies, but still, there is decent enemy variety here, and it's fun to manipulate and learn their different patterns due to the excellent animations. There's tons of different maps throughout the arcade mode as well, and I found the presentation to generally be quite enjoyable. I also have to say that I loved this 90s inspired soundtrack here. While playing, I didn't even realize that these compositions were from composer Barry Leach, who was the brain behind Top Gear's main theme. If you've ever heard that, it's really excellent, and the tunes here might be even better. The music's hard-hitting, synthy, and meticulously crafted. Between this and Cathedral, it's really been an amazing month for game music, but I think thus far Gravity Heroes takes the cake. What an amazing soundtrack, and some great sound effects in this game as well. As I selected one of my Gravity Heroes, I was greeted with the tone of their name being read aloud, and it sounds just as you would expect. Reminded me of something from Metal Slug 3, classic arcade crunch to it. Really great sound effects on the whole in this one. I think the sound design is top-notch, and the visual presentation, as I mentioned, is excellent. I really had a good time with Gravity Heroes, but you do more or less need a co-op partner to get the most out of this one. In single player, it's just not the same experience. I was most impressed with all of the different strategies that you can come up with, and that's thanks to the game's interesting gravity manipulating mechanic. You'll also get some decent replayability through that arcade mode. Of course, you have the survival mode, which can be enjoyed with 4 players, and you also have the versus mode. That's not so fun with 1v1, but if you got 3 or 4 players going at it, I could see having a good time, and there's a ton of maps as well. If you are looking for an entertaining co-op experience and something that you could potentially bust out at a party from time to time and play with friends, then Gravity Heroes comes highly recommended. Of course, the real question is, will we ever have parties again? We'd like to take a moment now to thank our great indie warriors who support us through channel memberships: Mitchell Hall, Kevalo, Bunny, Bill Tikaz, Christian Cruz, and Wesley William Semple. Thank you for all you do for independent content. It means the world to us. Everybody else should head down to the description box below where there's tons of ways to support I Dream of Indie. Thank you so much for supporting us, and we'll see you next time.